Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful way of looking at one of the biggest struggles we all face, worry. We're going to break down what it is, why it's so darn destructive, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your energy and start living more in the now.
So let me start by asking you a pretty big question. What do you think is humanity's biggest disease? I mean, your mind probably jumps to all sorts of physical illnesses or huge societal problems, right? But the answer we're going to explore today is something way more personal, something that affects almost every single one of us.
And yeah, that's the whole point. The answer is probably not what you're thinking. It's something that's hiding in plain sight, right inside our own minds. All right, so what is this disease that's hiding in our heads? Let's give it a name and really frame the core problem that so many of us are dealing with.
It's called chinta. You can think of it as worry or anxiety, but it's a very specific kind of worry. It's the habit of creating this little movie in your head about a future that doesn't even exist yet. And let's be honest, that movie almost always stars our own failures and fears, right? And this constant mental movie, it actively destroys the only thing we actually have, this very moment. And just so you know, this whole insightful framework, it comes from Goswami, a psychologist and author who has really boiled these ideas down into a clear, actionable guide for us. Okay, so how does this disease actually work? Let's take a closer look at the destructive nature of living under the shadow of a tomorrow that's completely imaginary.
This analogy is just perfect, isn't it? It perfectly captures how pointless worry is. It's like chasing a shadow. You can put in enormous energy, get completely exhausted, but it's all for nothing. You can never actually grab it. That is worry in a nutshell. All the effort and zero results.
And this gets to the heart of the delusion of worry. See, we tell ourselves it's productive. We think, oh, I'm solving problems, or I'm just preparing for the worst. But the reality is the total opposite. Worry doesn't solve a thing. It just wrecks the present moment. It doesn't prepare us for anything. It paralyzes us. And it definitely doesn't give us control. It just drains away all the vital energy we need to actually do something. And listen, this isn't just some mental game. The toll is very real, very physical. You know that feeling, the racing heart, the sleepless nights, that constant nagging restlessness? It's like having a slow, steady leak in your energy tank. You're completely exhausted, like you've run a marathon without even moving an inch. But you might be thinking, hang on, don't I need to plan for the future? And yes, of course you do. That brings us to a really crucial difference, the difference between destructive worry and wise planning. Absolutely. Nobody is suggesting you should just drift through life aimlessly. This framework makes a very, very clear and important distinction between productively thinking ahead and just getting lost in a fog of anxiety. And this farmer analogy is the key to understanding it. Wise planning is all about focusing on what you can actually control. It's sowing the seeds, it's doing the work, studying for the test, preparing your presentation. Destructive worry, or chinta, is when you obsess over what you can't control, the rain. It's fixating on the exam results or your boss's mood. One leads to productive effort, the other just leads to paralysis. So if worry is the disease, then what's the cure? Well, let's turn to the solution. And it's one of those things that's incredibly simple, but also profoundly challenging. The cure isn't some complex formula. It's really just a single instruction, sajag ho jao. It means become aware, become conscious. The entire antidote is rooted in this one shift, from being lost in your thoughts to being aware of this very moment. This rope and snake analogy explains exactly how this works. Think about it. In the darkness of an unaware mind, a harmless little thought, the rope, can look like a terrifying threat, a snake. Your fear is real, your heart pounds. But the second you bring the light of awareness, you see it for what it truly is. The illusion just breaks, and the fear dissolves. Awareness does that exact same thing to our worries. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, the psychologist Goswami offers a super simple 4-step technique. First, just pause that frantic movie that's playing in your head. Then ask yourself a simple question. Is this threat actually happening to me right now? And the answer is almost always no. Next, anchor your attention to your breath. And finally, and this is key, don't just think about it, feel it. Feel the rhythm, feel the air moving, the rise and fall of your chest.
This simple act pulls you out of that imaginary future and plants you firmly back in the real present.
And when you start practicing this, something pretty remarkable begins to happen. You start to reclaim these vast amounts of energy that worry has been stealing from you all this time.
I mean, just look at this. Before you practice awareness, our energy is kind of like a leaky pot. A huge chunk of it, maybe 60%, is just draining away into worrying about the future. Another 20% is lost to regrets about the past. And that leaves this tiny little slice for actually, living in the present moment.
But when you plug that leak with awareness, the transformation is incredible. That freed up energy doesn't just vanish. It converts into positive, vibrant experiences. It becomes deeper presence, real love, genuine joy and laughter, and the ability to take wise, effective action. And look, worry shrinks down to this tiny, totally manageable sliver.
If you want a perfect model of this, just watch a little kid who's lost in play. They are 100% in the moment, completely unburdened by what-ifs. Or think about a flower. It doesn't hold back its beauty today just because it might wilt tomorrow. No, it gives everything to the now. That is what pure presence looks like. So ultimately, the whole principle is really simple. Focus all your energy on what you can do right now. Sow your seeds, do your part, and then let go. Leave the outcome, the rain, to life itself. That, right there, is where you'll find freedom. And that leaves us with one final question to really think about. Just take a moment and honestly ask yourself, how much of the stress and anxiety you feel today is actually caused by a real immediate problem, and how much of it is just your vital energy leaking away into a tomorrow that doesn't even exist?